I'm the Design Director of Catersmith Architecture and Interiors in Christchurch, and I lead the design team for the upgrade of Poshtel. I'm also I've designed or been part of the team that's done upgrades of numerous buildings around in Christchurch and Auckland. I also own, as an owner, I've upgraded a number of buildings in Christchurch. Currently I own a 3-storey block of apartments we're strengthening, and they're clad in armoury stone. I'm also an owner and manager of a building company in Auckland previously, and I also have owned and currently own heritage listed buildings, so I understand the process we need to go through. I'm also an innovator. I've founded a accelerator for startups in Christchurch with Canterbury University, and I'm actively involved in the tourism industry as well. So I bring a number of perspectives to the process, not just design. These questions were prompted by Karen. First one, why choose to upgrade this building rather than one which doesn't need strengthening or building new? The two main factors is the availability of buildings at a financially viable cost. And you may not want to hear this, but when you buy a building to do a development, you make your money when you buy the building. You don't make it on the end. It's the reality of life. And also the availability of buildings to be adapted to new uses. So if you take a building, you've got to kind of know what you're going to do with it, and does what you want to do fit into the floor plate you've got. If you go a very big and square floor plate, it's rather hard to utilise that space in the middle. Poshtel, we had to squeeze and push a little bit to make it work. And of course I've done work in Christchurch. How to differ Oamaru? There's two main things, the work we do in Christchurch to Oamaru. First one is that we do obviously a lot of foundation work. We have to often re-level and substantially rebuild the foundations. And the other thing too, the structural upgrades are done under exemption process. So what we do is the engineer and myself, we do the drawings. The engineer does a PS1 certificate, and we lodge for a exemption, which takes about 48 hours to come through. It costs about $800. So the time scale and the cost is significantly less. What are the two biggest challenges we had? Making this deal stack financially, it's always a problem. Your costs, and upgrades are expensive. And accessing sufficient labour and professionals locally. On Poshtel, we had to bring people up for Dunedin for some parts. We did find a lot of people though here as well. What were the unexpected rewards? Finding some really good people here, which counts as the last slide, of course. We found some really good people here and made some good friends here as well. We found some excellent trades, and people do special stuff. And of course, WCD staff were great. They were very proactive. They were very engaged in the process. And Philip's got another project in town. The council sat down, everyone in the whole team. They said, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to go through. When I first started talking to the contractors, they were saying, oh, the council's useless. They're hopeless. They take ages. You'll never get a consent through. We went through a pre-lodgement for the strengthening part of it. We came down and lodged the consent. It came through in 12 days with not one RFI, which says a lot about the work I do, of course. But so he went back to the contract and said, okay, where's your price? We're ready to go. And they said, no, you'll take ages to get consent. So we have the consent. So the council and I take everyone here, done a great job. The first thing, what you need to consider as a building owner is get an idea of what you want to use the building for. Because if you've got the format and the flow of the building, when it comes to engineering, they know the parameters, they've got something to work with. They're also just going to give you design, then you're trying to move things all around. So the two have got to work together. Suggestion to assist building owners, you need to be in the exemption process. That's the first thing you can do. So it's the strengthening consent process is fast, it's certain, and it's relatively cost effective. It doesn't take weeks and doesn't cost $20,000. So bringing engineers out of town, which they're never really going to do, they don't always know about what armoury stone is and how it works. Quite often they think it's bricks, and that works in an entirely different manner. I'm sure the engineer will talk a bit more about that. But if the council had some standard data available, or through the quarry that was available to engineers, that would probably help a lot. Tell the Oamaru story better, create the opportunities. If you've got the buildings there and you've got to upgrade them, what are you going to do with the buildings? You've got to start with the opportunity. What's the opportunity the buildings create, and so we can use them. Oamaru doesn't tell your story well enough. You know, and I'm talking on my innovation hat here, my tourism hat here. When we just even getting images to use in Poshtel, I couldn't get any. I talk, you know, your steampunk capital of the world, and I write to them, I call in, I phone them, and not one zip response. Same with Alps Devotion, same with the heritage weren't too bad, but I ended up going iStock, getting my images from iStock. That's how bad it is. Council needs to be able to start telling the stories. Oamaru's got a great climate. I've been here 30 times in the past year. You get coming down south, it's raining. I can almost guarantee south of Timaru, it's fine. And you don't realise this. It's part of your story. And you've got so many great stories to tell. You've got the heritage story, you've got the historical story, you've got the connection with Shackleton, which is big overseas. You've got the wineries, you've got skiing, you've got day trips, you can go skiing, go to Mount Cook, you've got Finland. You come here, you look at the heritage place. Where do you start? Where can I go for a walk and pick up on my phone with an app and just walk around and find out about all these buildings? You know, you've really got to tell your story. This will create opportunities which will allow the buildings to be utilised. It's not a museum, okay? Some of you treat the heritage as a museum. It is not a museum. It's got to be engaged 24/7. You've got to have people coming and going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some people may not like to hear that, but that's how it works. That will create the opportunities for them to get value from them and it will allow them to be upgraded.